Hi, my name is Dan, and this video is one in a series of videos I'm doing on AI in Unreal. And we're following on a rolling example through several videos in a row. So let me quickly first remind you what it is that we're trying to achieve. So the AI character is going to stand on the spot, and if it can't see the player, it'll keep turning around looking in random directions. So every few seconds, it will turn and face in a different direction looking for the player. If the AI character catches sight of the player, it will stare at them. So as the player moves around, the AI character will rotate on the spot, but keep facing the player as if it's watching them carefully. Once the AI character has had sight of the player, and if they then lose sight of the player, so if the player goes around a corner or something, the AI character will then move to the last known location of the player. So it'll go to where it last saw the player. And then once it gets there, it goes back to looking round if it can't see the player, or if it does catch sight of the player, it'll revert to the staring. So that then starts the cycle once again. If it loses sight of the player again, then it will again move to the last known location of the player. And now I'm going to remind you where we're up to. So we've got a character in the scene. There she is. And we've got a AI controller, which doesn't do very much apart from set off the AI behaviour tree. We've got an AI behaviour tree. We've got a blackboard with some values in, one value in, which is whether it can see the player or not. And we've got a service which is running, which is checking whether the AI character can see the player character, which is what we set up in the last video, and we've still got a task here which does a reporting out of a message to the player, which is just we're using this twice to say whether she can see the player character or whether she's lost the player character. What we're going to do now is we're going to implement the behaviour of the character where when she can see us, she's going to continue to stare at us as we move around, and she's going to keep us kind of directly in front of her by turning around. So that's obviously going to be a task. So I'll go into the skill tree and open that up. This is how we are at the moment with our skill tree. We've just got these conditions. So whether you can see the player or not see the player, sorry, the other way around, not see the player, depends on which route you're going down. And this service is running constantly to check whether you can see the player or not. The AI can see the player. So we need a new task. Just going to click that, and it asks us for the base task that we want to derive this from, and we're going to use the standard one, which is there now. That, as normally happens, has brought us up a new editor window, and we want to rename this. It slightly frustrates me that it does this without giving the direct option to rename. All my assets I'm starting with STLK to make them easier to use, and I'm going to call this task stare. Okay. So let's open that up and have a look. We need the execute node, so we need the event receive execute and finish execute. Let's not forget that. Okay. So making the AI player look at, sorry, the AI character look at the player character is actually really easy. So this here gives us the actor that owns the AI that's happening. So we're going to just cast to stock AI controller, and we can actually do this in the AI controller and get it to focus on the player. So we'll just do set focus. There's a couple of things here. You can use set focal point as well, which gives you a point that a character will look at, but the set focus will just make it look at an object, even if the object is moving around. So it's actually really helpful. And then we just want the player character. Yes, player character. I'm going to plug move that in. Well, then to finish executing, make sure we're ticking the success there. So there's so the tree works properly. Okay, let's go back to the tree. So we want this to happen when the player is seen by the AI, which is this side, and we're going to do it before the talking so that it's not kind of got a delay and then happens. She's gonna refresh this every few seconds because at the moment there's a little bit of a delay in here. I'm kind of contemplating whether I want to do something to make this so that it doesn't talk quite so often. Let's just see how it goes. So let's run that task. Stare, and we'll just see how that goes. Failed to save. Okay, I've got an issue here. But I think I know why I've got an issue. That's because I seem to have 2 copies of the same project running. Cancel. Let's try save now. Apologies for that. Right. So let's see how the behaviour comes out. I can see you. And she's tracking me. Where are you? Now, interestingly, it is fine. But there is a problem. Okay. So at the moment she can't see me because she can't see past these steps. But I don't know if you can see as I move around. Let's move around the other side. She's still tracking me. And the reason is because when we set the focus, she keeps that focus even though she can't see me. So even though that node isn't running, that task isn't running, that focus is still being kept active. So we're actually going to fix that issue in the next video. So rather spend time trying to fix it right now, I'm just going to say that's it from me for now.